Hello, class. Welcome to day 2 of Be a Perfect Person in Just 3 Days. When we last left off, we met our protagonist, Milo, and he's our main character of the story. We met his sister, Alyssa, who's not very nice to him. And we met his mom and his dad, who thinks he could be a little bit more perfect. He was in the library, and he got hit on the head with a book, and it was actually the same title as this book, Be a Perfect Person in Just 3 Days. He saw the author on the back. He started reading. The book even predicted what he was thinking. So he decided he's going to go for it, and he's going to follow the steps to become a perfect person in just 3 days. We left off when he was just starting to look at day 1. So he took a very serious, deep breath and opened the book to where he'd left off at the library. Day 1. You can't take the last step to perfection until you take the first. I know what you're thinking again. You're wondering what the K in my name stands for. Well, I'm not going to tell you. That is pretty surprising. Milo was wondering what the K stood for. There are a lot more important things than wondering what the K stands for. And that's why you're here. Close your eyes, count to 10, and open them again. Milo did. Wasn't that a lot more important than wondering what the K stands for? Of course. Now, here are your instructions for the first day. When you're finished reading this, get a stalk of broccoli and tie a loop of string around the end. Leave it in your bedroom overnight. When you're all dressed tomorrow morning, put the string around your neck and wear the broccoli like a necklace. And don't take it off until I tell you to. See you tomorrow. I think that explains the cover a little bit more. You can see on the cover he's wearing a stalk of broccoli around his neck, like a necklace. Milo couldn't believe his eyes. He turned the page. It said, well, don't just sit there and stare. Go get the broccoli. And don't turn any more pages. Shut the book this instant. Milo obeyed. He set the book down on his desk and looked at the picture of Dr. Silverfish. It was hard to tell because the doctor's hot dog blocked off his expression, but Milo thought the doctor might possibly be smirking at him. Smirking is kind of like a knowing smile, like, Milo didn't think about it very long, though. What he had to do now was find some broccoli. He went down to the kitchen and opened the freezer. Underneath a bowl of fake whip, behind a bag of instant waffles, he found what he was looking for. Broccoli, read the package. In a delicious imitation cheese sauce made from only the finest, most succulent chemicals. Dr. Silverfish didn't say anything about an imitation cheese sauce, but it was liable to be messy when it thawed out. Milo closed the freezer and opened up the refrigerator. He was in luck. There, in the crisper, right next to a plastic bag of carrots with a bucktooth bunny on it, was a huge stalk of broccoli. Milo wondered whether he should take it without mentioning it to somebody. Normally, his parents didn't mind his taking things from the fridge, but usually what he took was milk or pie or soda or something. Vegetables were a different story. Milo couldn't remember taking a single vegetable out of the refrigerator, unless pickles and olives count. But he figured he'd better ask, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, sometimes, although they want you to eat things, parents have plans for dinner. And if you eat part of dinner, then they have to go buy some more. So it's a good thing to check. Milo went into the living room, where his parents were watching the news. Mom? Do you mind if I borrow some broccoli for a while? His mother shook her head. Milo wasn't sure if it meant she didn't mind, or if she wanted him to be quiet so she could hear about the gorilla war at the zoo. But he decided it probably didn't matter much one way or the other. He took the broccoli upstairs, along with some string. Milo had a hard time keeping his mind on anything but broccoli the rest of the evening. He wondered how in the world wearing a stalk of broccoli around his neck could possibly help make him perfect. And he was half tempted to peek in at Dr. Silverfish's book and try to find out. But he figured the doctor would probably outsmart him somehow, so he didn't bother. He'd been outsmarted once too often. Maybe that was part of the secret of being perfect. Oh, I forgot. Here is a picture of Milo going and asking his mom if he can use the broccoli. And you can even see in the background the gorilla on the TV. He'd been outsmarted once too often. Maybe that was part of the secret of being perfect, Milo thought, not letting people like Dr. Silverfish outsmart you. Well, he'd find out soon enough. Maybe. That night, Milo dreamed about being perfect. He was sitting on top of a huge piece of broccoli. A halo of green light surrounded him as he smiled down at all the imperfect people in the world and laughed at their mistakes. Here's Milo sitting on his giant piece of broccoli. You can see it's even taller than the house. You can just see his feet at the bottom. His sister bumped into the broccoli stalk and stubbed her toe, and Milo laughed and laughed. That's not really what I think of when I think of perfect. I think it'd be really hard not to make little mistakes like that. But that's what Milo wants. His mother locked her keys in the car, and Milo howled. His father dropped a big bag of groceries, and Milo roared. So I like how the author didn't just say that he laughed every single time. They used different words. They said laughed, they said howled, they said roared. They even increase in intensity. So laugh is just like ha ha ha. Howl is like ha 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 ha. And then roared is like ha 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 ha. They get louder and louder and more intense each time. Not exactly like that, but you get the idea. In fact, he laughed so hard he fell out of the broccoli. Or rather the bed. So he was laughing in his sleep and he fell right out of bed. I don't think he's perfect yet at all. So we'll end there for today. Remember to answer the questions about the first 2 chapters that we've read in the link below or in the assignment.